Next, let's pay tribute to Ray Reardon, the six-time world snooker champion who has died at the age of 91. The Welshman became a star after the game's popularity boom that coincided with colour TV. To remember him, the 1985 snooker world champion Dennis Taylor joins us now. Dennis, lovely to spend time with you this morning. I suppose the first thing to say, despite all his talents on the bays, good timing was also something that Ray had in his pocket, given the moment that he reached the peak of his game.
He was an unbelievable character and an unbelievable player. And I learned so much from the great man, Ray Reardon, not only on the table, but off the table. I mean, he was a master tactician on the table. I often say I would have him in my top 8 players of all time. He was that good. And I'll never forget 1976 when the World Championship was played at Middlesbrough Town Hall and the Wythenshawe Forum. And Ray was up in Middlesbrough. He beat me in that World Championship. And it's the best snooker anyone's ever played against me. And that includes the great Ronnie O'Sullivan, Steve Davis, Stephen Hendry. He was awesome. And he had to go down to play Alex Higgins in Wythenshawe when they had split the World Championship up. So he wasn't going to give Alex the advantage of playing on the same table. He complained about the table and they adjusted the table, put new cushions on. And he went on and he beat Alex Higgins 27-16 that year. So, yeah, he was the first superstar in the world of snooker. And I'll never forget when he appeared on the Michael Parkinson show. I thought, the great Ray Reardon, he's on Michael Parkinson. But he could tell an unbelievable story. And I was very, very fortunate to have travelled around the world and had lots and lots of time with Ray.
Yeah, we've seen pictures of that Michael Parkinson appearance. He managed a trick shot successfully, didn't he? And you can go to the BBC Sport website to see that. And Dennis, you're right. You spent a lot of time with him. And so you're best placed to tell us that despite having that nickname Dracula, and we've seen those pictures that make it obvious why, because of his hairstyle, that's not necessarily the character that he had. He was by no means intimidating and scary.
Oh, listen, nothing fazed Ray Reardon. When you come and you're trapped in the mines down in Tredegar in South Wales, and then you're a policeman, I mean, playing snooker was easy for Ray, but he was so good. And probably one of the greatest Welsh sports persons that has ever been. And I just loved watching and listening to him. The way he could tell stories. And you mentioned the trick shots there. I learned a lot of my trick shots with Ray and watching him play. He did one trick shot that nobody ever did. It was a cannon, and he'd be in a club, maybe a working men's club or a conservative or Labour club, and he'd get a ball, he'd throw it onto the floor, and the ball would run along the end of the floor and finish up in the corner. If there was a slight slope on the floor, he would then play a cannon off a ball on the table, bounce it onto the floor, and the white ball would follow the same path as the other one, and he'd get a cannon with the ball at the other end of the snooker room. I've never seen anyone do that, but the great Ray Reardon could do it. And his machine gun shot, he was one of the best. That's one of my favourite shots. He was he played that on the Michael Parkinson show. He was a genius at the machine gun shot as well, the rapid fire shot.
Dennis, we've seen pictures of him with Ronnie O'Sullivan. The reason that we've seen those pictures as you've been talking is because he helped mentor him to his 2004 world title. Only Ronnie O'Sullivan and Stephen Hendry have more titles than Ray Reardon, so you can understand those two teaming up. Why was it that Ronnie sought out Ray for that help?
I think Ronnie was looking, Ronnie had everything, but Ray's tactical game was second to none. But I think more than even helping Ronnie with his snooker, Ronnie just loved it when he met Ray Reardon because of his personality, because of the character that Ray was. I think Ronnie just loved being around him. And he was infectious. When Ray Reardon walked into a room, it was amazing, the atmosphere and everybody, the admiration they had for him. And that happened even up to recently because he came along. There's a lovely photograph Ken Doherty posted of this Cliff Thorburn, myself, Ken, Ray Reardon. There's like 7 world champions stood together. And we always called Ray. He was the governor because he really put snooker on the map, along with the great John Spencer. And I must say, Alex Higgins, who came along. Those 3 players and Pop Black are responsible for the game of snooker reaching the heights that it has done.
from which many have profited. Dennis, it's been lovely to spend the time. Thank you very much indeed. Dennis Taylor, one world champion remembering another in race.